Francisco Lindor is down, and the Mets have lost another player that they couldn't afford to lose. We don't know for how long. The season isn't slipping. Are things collapsing, or is Juan Soto enough to keep their season alive?
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, man, I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat it low in the way you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walk it back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to the bullpen, oh yeah.
That's right. We're bringing it back to the bullpen. But before we do, we're going to tell you about our friends at Game Time. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Welcome in my partner in crime here, Mike Stanton, the old 2-9er. Look, Mike, between you and I, we've got 20 years on the mic. Behind, have you, I know you've done TV with Houston. I know you've done radio with MLB Network. Have you done TV with MLB Network before? Have you delved into that form in Major League Baseball?
Seriously, are you asking me that question? You can see my face. This is a face for radio. Yeah. No, I did. Well, I never did MLB Network television. Tried a few times. Had a couple conversations, but never was able to partake in that part of MLB Network. Yes, I did MLB Network radio for almost a decade, and do it occasionally.
Yeah, no, you do, and you know, I love those shows that you're on, and so, but we're here. We talk about Major League Baseball. We go around the league, and this has been a very topsy-turvy season for a lot of clubs. Some more topsy, some more turvy. But we're going to get towards the end. We're going to get to Taijuan Walker being released. We're going to get to Shohei Ohtani. We're going to talk about his streak ending. He had a pretty good streak there. We're going to talk about Manny Machado's words on the sale or the proposed sale right now of the Padres. Why I think it might be good for baseball too. A massive stadium deal. And we talked about this in the past about this stadium deal. I believe we delved into it a little bit, but it's going to be built for the Royals out in Missouri. But we're going to lead off with more Mets talk. Man, we're spending a lot of time in the National League East. The National League East is a thick plot.
Yeah, Mets and Phillies, and we're going to start off the top with the Mets. And, you know, Mets had got some good news yesterday. They won a game. That was the first time they had won a game in almost 2 weeks. So that was a good thing. And they had two of their superstars in the lineup, who was Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor. Only problem is they only had them in the lineup for about 4 innings. Lindor tried to scored from first base on a double to right center field, rounding third base. He comes up a little bit lame, does have enough wheels to score the run, and that ended up being a big run in the win. But it also cost him. The ironic thing is, you know, they get Juan Soto back after 19 games. Gosh, it seemed like a lot longer than 19, but it was 19 games, and Lindor goes down with kind of the same injury, another calf injury. Soto went down with the calf injury, came back from the calf injury, and now Lindor goes down with a calf injury. So the unfortunate thing is we're not exactly sure how long Francisco Lindor is going to be out.
Yeah, I just know that they say that he's expected to miss significantly more time than Juan Soto did. So yeah, that could be, instead of 19 days, that could be, 60 days, which 60 days, that's 3 months, Mike. Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? 2 months.
2 months.
But what?
That's that Texas education right there.
There you go. Hey, man. That's why I'm not a math teacher. But one of the immediate replacements would be Ronnie Mauricio. He will get a shot. He's got a great OPS split versus lefties. He hit 772 OPS. Righties, something to be desired. But Bo Bichette will also rotate in at short, so you get him going between third or short. So they have options. But then again, we talked about Lindor last night. He is the guy that is the leader of this team. He is the face of the franchise. Mm-hmm. And if you're a professional team and anytime your superstar is not able to be on the field, that's when it gets tricky, because Mendoza, we talked, may be on the hot seat. Now, some of these injuries may keep him away from that and may elongate his opportunities or the chances that the Mets ownership gives him because of the adversity he's dealing with. They've just got to keep their heads above water, run into some luck, get some, spoil some bad pitching and make sure they don't, tank their season early.
Yeah. Couple things here. The first with Lindor, we're not exactly sure. What Carlos Mendoza said was he is going to be out for quite a bit of time. Okay.
Right.
How much is that? Well, who freaking knows? I mean, they don't know, because to tell you the truth, they don't know what the severity is. It's going to take a little bit of time just to figure out what grade of strain it really was. What Mendoza said was Juan Soto was kind of best case scenario. Actually, it wasn't 19 games. It was 19 days he was out.
19 days, yes.
And he was considered a grade 1 strain. So, that was but they don't know about Lindor. They do think that it's going to be longer than they do think it's more severe than that. How severe is it? We don't know. I could tell you when he rounded third, you could see he definitely slowed up a little bit. He was, if you want to say there was a slight limp, maybe, okay, fine. But it wasn't like, Sniper got him when pulling a hamstring and he pulled up completely lame. So I'm trying to stay positive here for Mets fans, but we're just really not going to know. It's going to take a little bit more time before we know how long Francisco Lindor is going to be out.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that you don't want to see. Now, if you go all the way out west, Shohei Ohtani had a streak that's pretty good streak and historical as far as the Dodgers go. He ended his 53-game on-base streak. Mm-hmm. Which is accounting for 53 straight regular season games where Correct. He got on base, whether it was by walk, hit by pitch, or a hit, he got on base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 53 games, that's a big number. And where does that rank in the Dodgers lore? Well, it ties for the longest streak of a Los Angeles Dodger with Shawn Green, somebody that pretty good left-handed hitter, had some power, could take a walk. And so it is not the franchise record, though. The franchise record is Duke Snider, because you got to remember the Dodgers go back to Brooklyn, and the franchise record is 58. So he was right there. Now you say, oh, well, he went over, he didn't have a good game. Yeah, you got to remember he was also pitching that day, and he threw 6 shutouts. So, I mean, he's doing what Shohei does, but it's pretty remarkable for a guy that has the power that Shohei does. His ability to take a walk, his ability to get on base. It's not just about driving the ball out of the ballpark. Right. This dude's just a good flat out hitter. So the streak in, start another one.
Well, I mean, right. I mean, it's about creating opportunities. And how do you create opportunities? You get traffic on the base pass. You get traffic on the base pass, anything can happen. I mean, even a routine double play sometimes turns into a ball being yard sailed out into, right center and, creates opportunities.
I mean, speed is probably one of it. There might have been a play. I haven't seen all 53 at bats, but there very well might have been a play that he legged out a double play opportunity, but they weren't able to turn 2. That's considered getting on base. He still got on.
And, you mentioned him being on the mound. He has a minuscule 0.38 ERA. So
he's had 4 starts too. And, this is a legitimate, that's a legitimate, 0.38, best in the National League. Just outstanding what he's been able to do on the mound.
So between him and who we haven't even talked about this guy. We need to spend, I think, some time next week looking at Jose Soriano. Find out when his next start is, because he's setting some records in his first 6 starts. And we can touch on that more at length, I believe, probably next week.
Soriano with the Angels, if people want to look, want to try and figure out who he is. He's only given up 1 earned run. Just one.
It's insane.
One.
It's insane. So in our next segment, we're going to talk about a $1.9 billion stadium in Missouri.
Yeah.
And why Manny he's in tune with this Padres sale and how much they're going for. We'll talk about that next. Everybody, welcome into Back to the Bullpen, brought to you by the Locked On Network. I want to tell you about our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Now, I can tell you that I've been using Game Time since we first started talking about Game Time. For the last 4 or 5 years, however long they've been with us, I've been with Game Time. I love the innovation it offers you. I love the zone deals. I like how prices drop. You can follow your favorite team. You can get alerts when prices drop and so much more. And what's cool is the price you see on the app is the price that you pay. There's no hidden fees. The price doesn't jump, because some sites you put it in the shopping cart, then you go to checkout and boom, price jumps. Not with Game Time. And if you wait till the game happens, like the day of the game, the prices drop 40 to 60%. Between the Game Time deals, the zone deals, and just the best selection that you can see online, Game Time is where it's at. So download the Game Time app today. Use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Check out Game Time today. And make sure you become a part of the Everydayer Club. Become part of the cool kids, the Locked On. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer. Add free episodes of this show and Locked On MLB, and also access to a Discord chat with myself and other Locked On listeners and hosts across the country. Again, go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer. Do that today. So, hey, speaking of Game Time, speaking of tickets, this weekend, we will be at Biggio's on Saturday. Y'all need to come check us out. I will put up a graphic towards the end of the show, but it's you just go to the Marquee Marriott downtown. It's about a block and a half from Dyken Park. It's off of Walker Street, and we'll be there from 4 to 4:30. We'll be live back to the bullpen, myself and Mike Stanton, and then from 4:30 to 5, Locked On Astros. So 2 podcasts, 2 live shows back to back right there, getting you ready for the Yankees versus Astros. So let's get into this stadium now. Stadium money wars, public dollars versus private dollars, all these things that come in. This is a $1.9 billion stadium proposal with $600 million coming from taxpayers themselves. The total development, they say, could hit $3 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, and this isn't just a stadium. This is like a mecca of baseball and entertainment all in one.
Yeah. This actually has me excited because, Kansas City, Missouri is a beautiful city. The problem is Kauffman Stadium, where they have been playing out by Arrowhead, where the Chiefs play also, they share the parking lot. It's out in the middle of nowhere. And it's not necessarily hard to get to, but there's just not a whole lot of anything around it. And I know, all the hotels that the players stay in, they have a part of the city that they call the Crown Center, which it is the shopping, it is the dining district, and it is a very, very cool place. And that is actually where they're trying to they want to put this stadium. There's an 85-acre development. It is out Crown Center. The district is run by Hallmark Cards. Yes, that Hallmark Cards, the designer of Valentine's Day, not officially, but That's, that Hallmark cards. So, and what they're really trying to do is they're trying to make a destination, not just a baseball field, not just
Right.
a stadium. It's not just going to be nice inside. It's going to be nice outside. And it's going to be in this area that, if there's a 7 o'clock game that the Royals are playing, man, you can go out there at 1 o'clock and see movies and, have dinner and do some shopping and then go to a baseball game. And that's what they're really trying to do. This kind of excites me because, when Camden Yards first started in Baltimore, that was kind of the model that everyone was trying to emulate. That, because you got a football stadium, you got the baseball stadium, you got the Inner Harbor, there's a mall there was stadium, there's restaurants, there's all this kind of stuff, all these things to do. So it wasn't just you're going for a game. There's a lot of other things you can do. And that's what Kansas City, and they have this Crown Center it's actually beautiful. It's got, Kansas City is known for the city of fountains. So there's fountains all over everywhere. It's absolutely beautiful. So this kind of excites me. Of course, there's always and the $3 billion for the whole the whole project. That's not for the stadium. That's for everything that's going to go around
everything around it.
Yeah.
Right. This is an 85-acre district. Now, the target is to groundbreak in 27. The opening would be 2030. Yeah. You've got places like the Battery out in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. You've got Texas Live,
which I can tell you,
Arlington.
Yeah, I can tell you which Texas Live is. They're still under construction. When it's going to be finished, it's going to be awesome. But,
and that's what I'm saying. And that's where these
the Battery. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I'm just saying these venues are, it's not just about remaking a baseball stadium or making the best baseball stadium. It's about creating revenue in multiple streams for these teams.
Well, the Battery in Atlanta, this one's pretty interesting because the Atlanta Braves own everything. Okay. When I played in Atlanta, where that stadium is, I actually had a house for before I got traded and we sold the house. I was at like 5 minutes from that stadium in that area. That there was nothing there. That was all like wooded. It was woods. It was a forest right there. And Atlanta came in. The Braves came in, bought it, and everything that you see there. That was built through the Atlanta Braves. So, they've built a destination in its own. And it's pretty incredible to drive through the Battery and see exactly everything that's there. There's restaurants and shopping. Again, they built a destination.
And something like this infuses money into the economy and ultimately would be really good,
Yeah, and listen, Kansas City, like I said, is a beautiful city. It's not a big city, but I think with them building this, it just shows to me, it just shows the state of the industry, of the baseball industry. And we're going to talk about the sale of the Padres here in just a second. I mean, for the Kansas City Royals, which is one of the smaller markets in all of baseball. Now, they're a good team. They've got one of the best players ever playing, or one of the best players in Major League Baseball, and Bobby Witt Jr. playing shortstop for them. That's a big draw. But it just shows you where this industry really is going into this CBA, that everybody's going to be crying poverty.
Exactly. So we're going to get to Machado and what he talked about with them, with the Padres, talking about them being sold and why he's so excited about that. We'll get to that, and we'll talk about how the Phillies cut ties with a pitcher to save face a little bit on the field, but they're losing a little bit with the pocketbook. We'll talk about that next. All right. So when teams are sold in this market, we look beyond 2026 and know in 2027 we're staring at a possible work stoppage. And all the while, we've got the big debate of salary cap. Is there going to be a salary cap? And, some people are trying to prophesy that this is going to be a long, long holdout. And, people are going to cement their feet in and they're not moving. Well, maybe something like this, a $3.9 billion sale of the San Diego Padres, who's not a large market team, maybe this changes some of the calculus, some of the stuff going into the discussion of what are we doing here? Let's keep baseball going.
Well, I am in these situations with the CBA, I am the eternal optimist. I really fight the idea of thinking Armageddon is coming. I always hope that cooler, calmer minds are going to prevail. But I think, again, just like we were talking about the Kansas City Royals, and the new stadium proposal, which they still have some hurdles they have to cross. You get the funding, get the property, get the all the everything they need to do to all the permits to do this. That's why it takes so long to even break ground. For the Padres, you have to remember that San Diego, other than maybe even including Oakland, may be the smallest major market in California. I mean,
Yeah.
It may be a little bit bigger than Oakland, but it's right there. It is one of the small markets, and that's one of the things that Manny was saying. Manny Machado, that is, who has signed multiple deals with the Padres. He says, "I don't want to hear about how San Diego's a small market anymore." Well, they still are a small market. Because it's not how much the organization is worth that determines that. It's actually the size of the fan base and TV deals and all that kind of stuff. So this is a record-breaking deal. This is a record-setting deal. I mean, $3.9 billion is a huge amount of money for one of the smaller markets. I mean, if they're worth almost $4 billion, what are the Dodgers worth? What are the Yankees worth? What are the Cubs worth? I mean, you're talking about 10, 12, heck, I don't know, maybe $20 billion.
Yeah, I don't know what the valuation for the Yankees would be. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not saying they're priceless, but if there's ever any club that would be somewhere where you're like, well, I don't know, I don't want to lowball it. And is there a price too high? Like, is there a price that you would not be willing to pay to have the New York Yankees? Because look, Mike, I've been all over this globe. I've been to Italy. I've been to Switzerland. I've been to Honduras, Canada. I've been to a bunch of different countries. And let me tell you, the one symbol that I see, the American sports team that I see represented all across the globe, and I know other fans don't want to hear this, it's the New York Yankees. I mean, they are the most popular team, I think, in probably American sports right now, or just name recognition. So yeah, but this is a 59% jump from their evaluation from the year before. And, these things keep going up. Mike, how does something like this, does this impact labor negotiations? If it does, how does it impact it? Because I keep hearing that. I just don't understand the baseball side of that.
I think it does. I think it has to. I mean, because if you're, why would you want a salary cap? Why would you want to limit the product that you're putting on the field, other than you? Because you can't really say, you can't scream poverty when you got new stadiums potentially being built. You have sales of small market clubs that are setting records. How can you really claim that you guys are in dire straits? And all the players have ever wanted, and I was part of the Players Association. I was part of some negotiations in New York back in this would be 2002, 2001, 2002, the first time there was not a work stoppage. And they're just saying that, well, the players are just making too much money. Well, I mean, you're talking about an industry, a yearly industry of well north of $10 billion. And all the players have ever wanted was, well, their fair share. And what it's usually been about 25%. In the past, it's been about 25% of the overall revenue goes to the players. Well, that means 75% is going to the owners. And who's doing all of the work? All the work's being done by the players on the field. And
Right.
that number has actually, over the last decade, 2 decades, that number has actually decreased. Now, the last time I heard it was a while back, but the last time I heard it, it was like 17, 18% of the revenue actually went to the players. And that's what the players have always said. They're not looking to get a bigger piece of the pie. They're just looking to get their fair share.
So here's something that Scott Boras said. The smaller markets are selling for twice what the large markets are. An outlier, question mark. I would say the truth is the Padres valuation outs the lies that baseball isn't at the most preposterous point of its existence. Another agent said, this is interesting. The guys opened the books, saw everything, and bought this for $3.9 billion. Yeah. As we go to a potential work stoppage, these are smart, savvy business owners. They are in the process of buying undervalued assets. So I get that, but to me, you would think that the Padres are in a huge position to benefit from the new CBA should the league meet its goal for national media rights, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Padres will definitely be better for this, I think.
Yeah. So the couple that is buying it, I think he's a hedge fund guy, and it's him and his wife is actually the group that's buying it, and it's these guys don't buy things just because they want a new toy. This is a big time businessman, and he's doing this because he thinks he can make money doing it. I mean, that's the simple truth of the matter. It's not, this isn't, 50 years ago that you had a really rich guy want to buy a team just because he was a fan. I mean, that's
right.
That's just not how it works when you're talking about this kind of dollars, this kind of money. So, is it undervalued? Of course, it was undervalued. Now, what is the value of anything? Well, the value is only what somebody is worth paying for it. So
that's right.
We can say it was undervalued. It's, $8 billion or $10 billion or whatever. Well, right now it's worth $3.9 billion, which is still a record setting number. And so it's really hard to say an industry, we're in dire straits here. I don't even want to say pleading poverty, but having, we've got a system that just simply isn't working when this industry has just exploded over the last, decade or two.
Yeah, definitely. And so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this. But let's wrap it up with Taijuan Walker being released by the Phillies. This is a guy that they had signed to a pretty large deal, Mike, and recently. And look, they still owe this guy $15 million, and they're gonna have to pay it. I mean, we've seen other teams do this, but is the impact of a loss like this more on the field? Is the pocketbook? Is that just details? I mean, what's the overall picture here?
Well, there's a couple things that came to mind. I'm like, my goodness. I mean, we're not even 4 weeks into the season, and they're already getting rid of one of the veterans, and they being the Phillies. And here's the thing: Dave Dombrowski has no problem doing something. He doesn't like to do it. Okay. But he's got no problem pulling the trigger on something like this. But, one of the things that we always talk about when you're, letting go of a manager, which we talked just yesterday about Rob Thompson and being on the hot seat. And he's the manager of the Phillies. So what are the optics? What are you saying to the team? What are you saying to your fan base? Well, in this situation, they're like, well, we don't really care what they say. In the 22 2/3 innings he's pitched this season, he's given up 8 home runs and has an ERA north of 9. And this goes back to last year. This isn't something that just came up this year. He has not, in the last year, he has not thrown the ball well. No. And it was actually delegated to kind of a mop-up long relief role, later in this contract. So that's the thing that is going on there. And what they're really doing is they're trying to make a roster spot for Zach Wheeler when he comes back on Saturday pitching against the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, no, that right there is one of the, I guess, positives. But you've got to cut bait. And
sometimes you just listen, the money's already spent. That's just it. Yeah, they owe him $15 million, but as far as the organization, as far as your budget, the money's gone. And here's the thing, Dave Dombrowski has no problem with doing this. He did this. You remember, he just did this not too long ago to Nick Castellanos, and that was $19.2 million contract. So that's dead money that they have to pay, and that is on their books. That is also, I believe, it's still on their luxury tax number because it's still money going out the door. And so, is it optimal? It's not optimal for anyone. And listen, being a player that was released under contract, you go, oh well, Taijuan Walker gets to sit at home and make $15 million if he doesn't get picked up by somebody else, and he might. It's not as cushy as you think it is because you want to be on the field playing. That's
definitely. And sometimes these things happen and these guys end up in another city, and you know what? They end up having sometimes
change of scenery.
Sometimes it takes a change of scenery, but that's all yet to be seen. But before we wrap it up, definitely want to show y'all again. We're going to be at Biggio's this weekend. It will be Saturday, the 25th. Mike Stanton, myself, he will not be in baseball uniform unless he surprises us, but 4 to 4:30.
Better than average chance I am not going to be in uniform.
Okay. Well, that's I was trying to see if you would, but anyways.
You know what? I still have that one, I think.
Really?
I think so. At least the jersey.
Let's see if it fits. I'm joking.
Actually, it does.
Oh, there you see, because you're like the master of being in shape, and you got it all together.
That's exactly what I am. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to freaking Whataburger or something like that.
Oh man, you should have told me. I could have put in an Uber order, but
there you
seriously, 4 to 4:30, our show live. Then 4:30 to 5, Locked on Astros.
By the way, I'm not going to Whataburger. I have not eaten dinner, but I'm not going to Whataburger tonight.
Well, man, you shouldn't tell me. I would have brought something to eat. But well, hey, thank y'all.
Come see it at Biggio's, guys. Come see us.
Yeah,
come out.
Come see us. Come hang out with us. I think I made the decision that I am going to go to the game afterwards, so I'm going to walk over to Dyken Park after we're done with the second show. But make sure you come back next week. Why? Because we will cover the MLB the way nobody else covers it. And if you want to make us not just your first listen, but you listen to us every day, then check out the Everydayer Club. It's built for you. You can get this show, Back to the Bullpen, ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and so much more. Just head to Locked On Podcast Sports /Everydayer. Check it out. Join, become a member, and we will see y'all next week. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see you at Biggio's, and play ball.
Adios.